Hi everybody, it's Rob Watson, and this is just a quick video to just recap some of the things I've been up to this week and to think about some of the things I'm doing over the weekend. It's been a quiet week this week, which has been nice. I've managed to get a little bit of work done, quite a bit of reading. At the moment, I'm reading a lot about Carl Jung. Last week, I read Psychological Types, which is about 600 pages, quite dense, really kind of some quite complex stuff in there. So that took me quite a while to get through. But this week I'm reading Jung's kind of autobiography, which is Memories, Dreams, Reflections, and that's much more interesting. It's much more kind of personable, less technical in what it's trying to describe, but very interesting. I'm kind of really focusing in on the whole nature of personality types and the whole kind of the Jungian model of psychology, which I think is much more constructive and relevant, if you like, than certainly Freudian types, which I can really, put, I think Freud comes across, and forgive me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a psychologist or a Freudian scholar, but Freud was a mixed up man who had some neuroses himself that perhaps were never dealt with, and so he focused on a particular form of psychology based on the repression of sexuality. Which what I like about Jung is he kind of says no, actually, our psychology is a creative process. It's not fixed. It's not determined. It has precedence, and it's drawn from our common bonds, if you like. There's a kind of humanity to Jung's approach, and while the kind of language is mixed with kind of religion, and he talks about the soul, he talks about God. It's very much a kind of inner form of understanding of humanity. So it's interesting to read at least. But it certainly is a challenge. And then so why this relates to anything else I've been doing, I'm not sure, but it's over the weekend on Saturday I'll be in Sheffield at the Community Media Association conference, which I always look forward to, which is an opportunity for me to meet with and get together with lots of friends who are interested in the same thing, which is community media and the way that we can support and kind of talk about the benefits and advantages of community media. So it's a very um, good time to charge your batteries with people who get what you're trying to do yourself. So one of the two things I've got as a priority is well, three things actually is that I'm particularly involved with in the conference, as well as kind of floating and chatting to people, looking after people, is the uh, promotion of the CMA chat forum, the development of a CMA research network, and then a colleague, Rose Lanigan, is going to come in and talk about Civi CRM. So the uh, chat network is chat.comedia.org.uk, which is a discussion forum based on it uses the Discourse platform, and it's a way of kind of provide, it's a fairly classic chat forum, which allows people to discuss and share ideas and content and links and documents, and it allows us to structure and order a conversation where we can record and manage the kind of discussion about how the CMA is developing. So we use it as for our work on the council, but also how we interact with our members and the stakeholders of the Community Media Association. So we've got somewhere the discussions can happen elsewhere. We're not stopping other discussions from taking place. So email, Facebook, Snapchat, in the pub, by telephone, wherever form of communication is easier for you. But then when you've kind of distilled that, and you want to kind of feed it into the way the CMA thinks and what it's informed about, then the chat forum is going to be the place that we want members and our supporters to increasingly focus their discussions. So it's somewhere that we can, and there's two reasons for doing it with a platform like this. Is one, we control the data that goes into that platform. So we've got, we don't sell it onto any third parties. We, if it gets used for any kind of collation of information for research purposes, if you like, or feedback to an organisation, then we'll do that explicitly with the permission of the people who are involved. So it's much more something that we can control, and that means that it isn't also susceptible to some of the wide variations in tone, let's call it that, that you might get with so some social media groups. So the kind of, we have a code of conduct. We're looking at developing a kind of members moderation process, so that discussions, kind of whilst we all have our individual bees that we like to let circulate around our bonnets, it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody else wants to see that all the time. So this gives us an opportunity, if you like, to be reciprocal and sensitive to encouraging as wide a range of views as possible, which is one of the founding precepts of what we do with community media. The second priority is to promote and launch really and I'm working with Dr. Rose Lanigan at Leicester University, or the University of Leicester to give it its proper title, is to promote and support and bring together some of the research work that's done around the UK around community media. So there's a lot done, like there's stuff done at Birmingham City University, there's stuff done at Cardiff at the Jomex Centre, journalism. There's stuff done in LSE in London. There's stuff done in Lincoln. There's stuff happening all over the country in terms of Sheffield is strong, Sunderland is strong in terms of academics who are working in community media. But one of the things we want to try to shape really is thinking about what the social impact is and what the role of community media is in supporting community development, so that our members and people who are associated and want to use community media can recognise and see that it has these particular benefits, that or it has these downsides. Research isn't just about pointing out what's great, that's marketing. What we want to do is really analyse and use the critical faculties of research to look at what works and what doesn't work, and to help draw in policymakers and resource holders and training organisations and community development organisations, local authorities, NGOs, councils, government, all of those kind of bodies, to really regard community media as part of the solution to our community development and part of the solution to our issues, our social issues. And we're always going to have social issues. You're never free from them in that sense. And then the third one is as I said earlier, Rose Lanigan, who is a developer for CiviCRM, which is an open source platform for community engagement. So it manages contacts, it runs events, it runs diaries, it does mail outs, and it's a plugin that can work with WordPress and Drupal and other various media platforms. And it allows people to manage and organise their contacts with their members, their constituents, their volunteers, their supporters. And so that was my kind of thing that I wanted to. I went to the CiviCRM bootcamp earlier in the year, and Rose, who's based up in Leeds, spoke very well and a kind of introductory level about the benefits of CiviCRM. So I wanted to, and she was. I wanted to invite her to the conference to share that information as well. So hopefully she'll be able to do that in a way which people find useful and practical, as something which can support the practical development of community media projects in whatever form they take. So so I'm looking forward to being in Sheffield. I don't know if I'll be out on the town in Sheffield, it is a conference, got work to do, so I don't think I'll be up late. I think I'll be my usual snoozing at 9 o'clock in the evening, kind of probably asleep at 10 p.m. in the evening, and then up again at 6. That's the usual pattern of things, but hopefully the weather will be nice, and it'll be great to see. I'm really looking forward to see some friends, some familiar faces, having some vigorous discussion with some colleagues, and really getting behind community media. So I'll see you next week.